All right, so you've been digging deep lately, huh? Grace and redemption.
Yeah.
Heavy stuff. And the readings you send over. Who? A story about Billy Graham getting a speeding ticket. And then Ephesians. Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to jump in and see what we can find.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me, how those two things, like a personal story and then something so, I guess, theological, how they connect.
Right, like two totally different worlds colliding. Okay, first, that Billy Graham story, it's pretty crazy. So picture this, he's driving,
Yeah.
right? Maybe thinking about his next sermon or something, and boom, he gets pulled over for speeding. Can you believe it?
Seriously, like if Billy Graham gets speeding tickets, what hope is there for the rest of
I
us?
know, right? But wait, it gets even better, or I guess weirder. He is going to court, right? In front of a judge. And the judge, at first, he seems totally serious, like all business. But then, get this, he recognizes Graham. Like, hey, aren't you? But he still fines him, like 10 bucks or something.
Yeah.
But then he turns around and pays the fine for him.
Whoa, hold on. Seriously.
Yeah. And then he takes Billy Graham out for steak.
No way. Talk about grace, right? It's like you think about a courtroom, it's all about, rules and judgment and consequences. But this judge, he's just like, nah, I'm going to show some grace here. It's just totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And it completely shifts like the whole mood of the situation.
Right. And it makes you think, like, how often we see authority figures or even just like rules in general, and we just assume it's all about punishment. But then you get this act of, I don't know, generosity. It's something else.
It definitely challenges those expectations. And when you think about those excerpts from Ephesians, it actually kind of ties in that whole idea that we're saved by grace, not because of anything we've done.
Okay, so let's get into Ephesians then. So Paul's writing this letter, right,
Yep.
from prison, which you'd think would make for a pretty, I don't know, depressing letter. But actually, it's super hopeful. And he talks about this idea that before we experience grace, we're dead in trespasses and sins. What does that even mean?
Right. Well, dead, he doesn't mean like literally dead, obviously. It's more like spiritually speaking, being disconnected,
Yeah.
lost, like unable to really truly live. And that trespasses and sins part, that's not just like breaking the rules, right? It's like a fundamental separation from God.
So it's like we're in this state of being lost, disconnected, and then grace is what enters the picture.
Exactly. It's what brings us back to life spiritually. And it's not something we earn, right? It's a gift, like purely a gift. Like in that story with Billy Graham, the judge, he didn't pay that fine because Billy Graham, deserved it. It was just pure kindness out of nowhere. And that's kind of how grace works.
Yeah.
Theologically speaking, it's like God's love reaching out, not because of anything we've done, but just because of who God is.
And Paul, he's very clear about that in Ephesians, right? That salvation, it's not about just racking up good deeds. He actually says it's not a result of works, so that no one may boast.
Exactly. It challenges that idea that we can somehow like earn our way to God or to heaven.
Right. But then doesn't that make you wonder, if it's all about grace, then why even bother trying to be good?
Yeah. It's like, well, if it doesn't matter what we do, can we just live however we want?
Right. It almost seems counterintuitive, right?
It's a question that's been debated for centuries.
Yeah.
But the idea isn't that good works are irrelevant. It's more about the motivation. If we're trying to be good just to earn salvation, that's not really genuine, right? The idea is that true goodness, it flows from a heart that's like overflowing with gratitude for the grace that we've already received. It's a response to love, not a bargain.
So it's more like, because we've been shown this incredible undeserved grace, we want to live in a way that reflects that.
Exactly. Our actions become like expressions of gratitude, not a means to an end.
Okay, that shifts things, doesn't it? It's not about fear or obligation, but it's about love and thankfulness.
Right. It's less about what do I have to do and more about how can I express my gratitude for what's already been done for me.
So to recap, what we've been looking at, both in that Billy Graham story and in Ephesians, is that grace, it's a free gift. It's not something we earn. And it's through God's love and mercy, not our actions, that we find redemption.
And I think the question that all this really raises is if we truly grasp that grace is undeserved, how does that change how we see ourselves, how we see other people, how we see our place in the world?
Yeah, that's a lot to think about. It's like, if we're not always trying to earn our way, it frees us to live differently, right? Well, thanks for diving deep with me today. It's really given me a lot to, I don't know, chew on.